So first-time home buyers usually question like, what happened after my offer gets accepted? Most real estate contracts where I live is usually about 30 days. Then you might wonder what happened during these 30 days. Let's dive right into it so you can feel confident about the home buying process and have the clarity you need to move forward. Once your offer is accepted, you, the buyer, are in control. After the offer is accepted, the seller and the buyer signed the contract. We now would have a ratified contract. The next day, the escrow period on this contract would start. The escrow period essentially is the time that is allotted by contract for you to go through all your due diligence to make sure that the house is in good working condition. In the Washington, D.C. metro area, you have 3 days to deliver your earnest money deposit or your escrow deposit to the title company. Buyers would write a check and attach that check to the offer to show the seller how serious that they are. But now it's done a little bit different. Most people use wire transfer because it is faster and safer. You will get instructions from the title company or the broker, whoever holds the earnest money deposit or the escrow deposit, specific instructions through a safe portal so that you could make that delivery. It's always smart to double check because wire fraud and things like that are on the rise. So it's always good to check with the title company to make sure that the information that they provide to you is the accurate information. Like I mentioned, the escrow can be held by the title company or the broker, depends on how the setup is here in our market in the Washington, D.C. metro area. This step is very crucial to keep the contract together, to keep everything running. With these details getting sorted out, you're on your way to owning your house, and things are gonna move pretty fast from here on. Also, by this point, the lender should already receive all the paperwork to get started on the loan process. In the first 72 hours, the lender's main goal is to get you all the important documents as quickly as possible. They want you to have key information like your potential interest rate, options to lock in your interest rate, and an estimate of what you'll be paying at close. Once you're done with these documents, the next step is to order an appraisal. The appraisal is very important because it determines the actual value of the house to make sure that you're not overpaying. This appraisal, however, would cost you a couple $100. In my market, I have seen about between $500 up to even $700 for an appraisal. To avoid any delays, the lender will pay it up front, ask for a reimbursement later. Honestly, appraisal usually takes the longest in the process, and usually a few weeks before the appraisal can get ordered and can also be done. While the appraisal is happening, the lender is also working on important documents or important information on the back end. That's why it's important to pick your lender at the beginning of the process as opposed to waiting till at the end of the process once you find a house. If you take a long time to pick a lender or to go over the documents that they send you, that's going to create massive delay in the whole process. So it's always best to do your research, choose your lender before you even start the process. While the lender is working on the loan documents, me as a real estate agent, I'll be working on the other aspect of this transaction. At this point, my primary goal as a real estate agent is to get you a home inspection schedule and also do the home inspection. I always remind my clients about the home inspection, the importance of it, and how fast we need to schedule that home inspection. Some people might want to wait until they get the loan approved, until all the finances is done before they do home inspection. However, in our market, we usually have about 7 days to do the home inspection and also negotiate on the home inspection, because you have to think from the perspective of a seller. If within 7 days that you decided to not move forward with the house because of home inspection, they would want to be able to go back on the market and not wait any time. So that's why the home inspection usually is the first contingency that we work on to remove. By the way, it's important to also note that these things all happen at the same time, right? First 72 hours is going to be very busy. The lender is going to ask you for documents and for information. Me, the real estate agent on the other end, is scheduling home inspection and different other paperwork that you might need to fill out to get everything working in order. By doing that, by working fast and efficient, we can make sure that we stay on track for our 30-day contract, because we do not want to go to the seller and asking them for extension. They never like that. Now, there's a whole team that's involved in this whole process. The escrow company, which essentially you could say the title company, doing the history on the house just to make sure that there is nothing that can stop you from owning this house, or there's nothing that can come up even after you own this house. You also got my team, where I have a transaction coordinator who's helping me with all the paperwork to make sure that we do everything right and accurate. Additionally, the lender on their side, they're gonna have a team that's also helping them to make sure like all the documents are in place and we can continue to move forward with this process without any delay. So after initial negotiations that may take place, we might need to still continue to talk to hash out certain details during the escrow period. For example, if the appraisal comes back lower, then we have an appraisal contingency in our contract and we can go back and negotiate. We can also go back and negotiate on our home inspection, depends on how the contract is written. We can even go back to move up the date of closing, or to push back date of closing and things. It is very important to agree of each deadline before the deadline pass. For example, if we have a deadline for home inspection or appraisal or finance, and if we have not reached a conclusion during these deadlines, we would need to go back to the other party and ask them for an extension so that we're not those who violate the contract. Because if we do violate the terms of the contract, then the earnest money deposit that we've given to the escrow company or to the title company is now at. So once home inspection is done, appraisal is done, your loan is getting ready to be approved, now we can remove some of these different contingencies. What this means is that you're saying you are committed to buying this house, and the earnest money deposit that you have given to the title company or to the escrow company has now become non-refundable. Some reason at this point, if you decided, I don't think this house is for me, then that is the money that you have on the line to lose. But it's my job to make sure that this never happened. At this point, things will slow down a little. Trust and believe that we are in the background, me, the lender, and the title company were in the background working to make sure all the documents and everything we need for closing. At this point, some issues may arise. It's always good to stay in communication with your lender and communication with myself and the title company. Certain things can come up in last minute and they would need to address these things for closing. Now, the next step can be different for you depending on where you are. Usually the lender will send out your loan disclosure to you before closing. In our area, that needs to be disclosed, that needs to be sent out to you 3 business days before closing. This document will highlight all the costs associated with you buying it. It's very important to walk through these documents and make sure you understand all the. While you're reviewing it, if you see anything wrong, please make sure you tell your lender, because once you sign these documents, you agree to the terms of these documents. Are very standard, but things to look for is the interest rate, how much you're borrowing, and the closing cost. And please go over these things with your lender just to make sure that you understand them. Now, before closing, usually I like to do that the morning of closing, is to do a final walk. We're going to walk through and look for the things maybe we had asked for in repairs, making sure that these things are done. Test every system in the house just to make sure that the house is in good working condition. This is your final stage in the process to make sure that the house that you are buying is a house that you really want to buy based on the agreed terms. This step is very important because once you sign those documents, every issues or anything related to the house is your responsibility at this point. So then the next final step is we'll go to the title company and we'll sign documents. It can take about 25-30 minutes. They'll get the documents to be recorded with the county clerk. And from this point on, you have the key to your house. Congratulations, you are now a homeowner.